What's up, mobile gamers? It's Dronzer Gigs, back with another T3 video. You guys already kind of know this is coming if you guys have seen my community post that I just made a little while ago. Actually, probably a couple days now. It goes pretty fast when you're recording all the time. But playing Zero Kelvin, because honestly, I think he is kind of flying under the radar, especially for the tank meta. Obviously, Victor's garbage. Don't play Victor. Like, do not play Victor. He's not even a tank. He's just a free kill, honestly. But they don't have any good tanks either. So a lot of people have been saying Jabali's really good, and my problem with Jabali is that once he loses his shield, he's pretty much dead. And it's just so hard to be a support for him because when he's standing here, right, his shield will take all the damage. So you have like a very small window where you can actually help a Jabali. And what I like about Zero Kelvin is that he does not have the same shortcomings that some of the other tanks have. And he's actually very mobile. In my opinion, the only one that's more mobile than Kelvin would probably be Fade because of his dash, right? But this is the perfect map to show you guys. I don't think the bots are going to do it too much, but they can basically sit up here and it's free damage and my snowball won't protect me. And that's why I decided to go into a regular match, because honestly I didn't feel like tanking the game while also playing as a tank. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't do that, especially in ranked when people are trying to rank up. I just think this is going to be better so I can talk to you guys about my opinions and my thoughts, because I think that Zero Kelvin's very good, but I don't want to throw the match against a bunch of people in ranked. We'll probably do one match in ranked after this, just so I can show you guys what's up, because Zero Kelvin's really, really good, and the snowball is honestly the best part. So we started out in Payload Escort because Payload Escort is his worst mode of the two if you're going to run him in ranked as a tank. Main, that's the Vanguard class, you're going to want to know how to play him in ranked, and that's the biggest thing. Because in ranked, if you put your snowball down, this is really difficult, because if they aren't bots, right, you're getting swarmed, and it's very hard to push the cart and the snowball at the same time. It's definitely doable, but it's just a little too much pressure, whereas somebody like Fade, it's very easy because when you dash, it just moves you away from the cart. And I'll show you guys this real quick. So, cart's moving, go like this. His second ability does not move the cart. I know it moved a little bit there at the end, but that's because of bot teammates. So, I will try to make this as quick as possible, but what the point of this is that his second ability stops him from pushing the payload. So not only is it hard for him to stay by the payload when using a snowball, but it also means that when you do this, you're getting health, obviously, which is good, but you're kind of leaving your team at a slight disadvantage. So you gotta time it very well. You need to time it where you go into your snowman form when everybody's around, so the cart still gets pushed, and then by the time you're out of your snowball form, it's not that far away and you still have like a couple of teammates with you, and that is the biggest part of that. I think Payload Escort is his weaker of the two modes, but I think he's very, very good, and the best part is his shield is mobile. Now, obviously, Fade, you set his down, it stays there. Fort, you set his down, it stays there. Jabali, like I mentioned, he has a mobile shield, but your supports aren't doing anything for him when they're healing him. If they could give his shield more health or something, maybe, but what happens is you have a support who's basically a waste of time when he's following Jabali around or whatever, and that causes problems because you get really low on health and you possibly die, and then his shield breaks, and supports don't put out very good damage, right? So you're not doing damage, you're not healing, and you're just kind of in the way. And then once his shield drops, he's a super easy target, and it's impossible for supports to heal him all the way, and so I don't really think Jabali is the choice. If I was going to pick two, right? We're making the video on Zero Kelvin right now, but my next pick is gotta be Fade. Ruby and Fort are very, very good. They're both still probably tied for the second best in the game, but I think some of these other heroes that are Vanguards are better off because of how mobile they can be and because their shields are a little bit more situational. So we're going to hop into a game of Control and tell you guys my thoughts on that. So this is why we're doing it in this format, because I don't want to jump into ranked and make some team lose. I want to get my thoughts out so we can basically play him while not talking as much. Control is honestly where he's going to shine the most. First off, you don't have to worry about his second active because the point is stationary, just like his second active is. And the snowball is going to be way easier to hit shots with because your enemies are going to be clustered up a lot more than usual in Control. So we are getting players here, which is always good. And I have been seeing a lot more Kelvins in the rank scene. I'm not entirely sure if I would say he's better than Ruby or Fort, but I think he's usable in a lot more situations, especially in Control compared to the escort mode. Ooh, we have somebody with the rank skin. That's pretty cool. For Christina on the reward track, you can get that by playing ranked and leveling up your track, which is really awesome. But this is about Kelvin, and we will... They do have a Jabali, which is interesting. 2, I would say Jabali's somewhat of a counter, but what really is tough about Kelvin and all the tanks in general is Gatlyn, right? They have an enemy Gatlyn, and she's going to basically shut me down all game. I am going to pull off a little bit of a flank here because I think it's the better choice. Jump in behind and get the snowball rolling, so to speak. And jump in here, and I'm dead already. That's the problem with tanks, is if you swarm a tank, you can kill them. And right now we have Gatlyn v Gatlyn. Ours is losing, and Gatlyn just shreds. She shreds through all of the Vanguard heroes, and it's not even close. The only upside is Kelvin is the only one that has invincibility on his second active. I'll try to show you guys a little bit here. Yep, see, we're already almost dead, but you can see they stopped shooting at me immediately because they know they can't do damage. And that is the biggest part of Gatlyn's kit, is the fact that, yep, there we go. Team's not helping at all. Very sad to see. We're probably going to lose it very quickly. But Gatlyn is your biggest enemy when playing a Vanguard, and the trick to Kelvin is that he's the only counter, really, to Gatlyn as a Vanguard player. You want to basically wait for your teammates while you use her second active, and that is honestly the only chance you have at doing remotely good against a Gatlyn, which is kind of disappointing if I'm being honest. The snowball is very awesome, very good. It does push back a lot of heroes, and I think it just has a little bit more of a use when compared... See, look at that. See, what's she gonna do? If I had teammates, she'd have died if I was playing ranked, right? Whereas you use Fade's shield, any of the Vanguard heroes don't have a way to counter Gatlyn except for Ruby, and if she kills you too fast, it doesn't really matter because the stun takes too long to get out. The stun is like this, and then boom, there she's stunned, right? And it is not enough time for you to do enough to matter. We'll use our ultimate here. Yeah, we're done. The team's just not good. They all suck right now. We will jump into a ranked match here, but make sure you guys are doing this. And that's the match. That sucks. Really sucks. We're going to try to make this a little bit longer of a video for you guys. We'll jump into a third match because of how quick these were. But I think Zero Kelvin has a lot more potential than the other Vanguard heroes. And the only one that really comes close is Ruby and maybe Fade. Because the point in Vanguard is you want to be flexible. Jabali soaks up a lot of damage, but once you break that shield, he's useless. He can't do much. His damage is not very good in base. And if you're playing somebody like Ruby, her shield moves, right? So it's very easy to counter a Ruby player if they don't know what they're doing. If you don't know what you're doing with Zero Kelvin, you just stand by his snowball and it's a mobile shield, which is really, really cool. So I think Zero Kelvin's really good. We'll probably make a video on Fade as well. And kind of debating on which one is better because they kind of serve different purposes, right? Zero Kelvin's a brawler and Fade is a dive Vanguard. So you're going to use them in different instances, but this is exactly what I wanted to show you guys. They're going to get up high and basically hard counter Zero Kelvin. That goes without saying, and it's going to happen no matter which Vanguard you play, except for kind of Jabali. But the problem is Jabali's just a sitting duck because you can't move very fast with the shield. And if you have a bad team, your shield's going to get deleted almost instantly. And Gatlyn is your main enemy. So we do have a Ruby, which is really nice. And they are not running a Gatlyn. I don't know what they're doing. Gatlyn's almost a must pick right now. I hope she gets nerfed. And if she gets nerfed, I think that Zero Kelvin's the best for the job when Gatlyn gets nerfed, because she should get nerfed, right? That is what everybody wants. Gatlyn needs nerfed because she's too strong. Now, what I like about Zero Kelvin is the snowball, specifically, because it allows you to move around and play a little bit differently between the role of Vanguard and damage, because once you have that snowball out, the only one that can delete it is Gatlyn. And if she gets nerfed, well, you don't really have any way of playing around the other tanks, because, well, hang on, we'll just do this. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, here, we're gonna do this, just because I don't want to die right away. But we'll grab a kill on the... Oh, hang on, she's got a support with her. Yep, that's unfortunate. This team's gonna probably be better than us. But if you don't have Gatlyn, right, how do you counter Ruby? You go around her shield. How do you counter Jabali? You get behind him. How do you counter Fade? You just dodge his dash, and he can't do anything. And that is the biggest problem. You can see my snowball didn't even get destroyed. And we're probably going to die here. Unfortunately, our team is just not very good. But the point is, you saw that because I don't have a Gatlyn, my shield... Everybody's not playing. It's rough out here for people that play ranked. I mean, our team cannot even get out of the spawn zone, which is super crazy. I think they should... Yeah. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that Zero Kelvin is the easiest Vanguard to play as because they can't really counter him. He uses his snowmen, and it basically makes him invincible, and then the snowball is very hard to destroy. You can basically sit here and use it the whole time, and you won't die. Unfortunately, the team sucks, or we would already have ourselves out of here. It's just very tough. Our team is very bad. Look at that. She's not even looking at the Skady. The Skady missed all 4 shots that she took before dying. And you'll see here what I'm talking about once we get moving here. They're going to all post up around these top areas, and that is where you're going to see a lot of the shortcomings that we have with these Vanguard heroes. So we'll see if we can use this as cover. Now, I don't want to use my snowman because it stops me from moving, but we'll use it now since they are going to basically push me and get a ton of damage off on me. Very disappointing to not have anybody on the team even try to push the payload. that's how my ranked experience is gone. I really honestly just end up playing damage heroes because of it. But Zero Kelvin's really good. I think he has a lot of potential, and if you get good with him, he can be pretty crazy. Like you'll see here, we'll go ahead and heal, and all of them are right here, so we're dead for sure. But look at all the damage I was able to do. Now, if I would have had a support with me, Zero Kelvin is insane with support, because if you stay by his snowball, it gets health, and the snowball also is something you're able to attack with, because if you're playing as Fade, right, you're not going to be able to do all the crazy things because the support won't be able to keep up with you. But Zero Kelvin, you're always going to be able to keep up with him, and your healing is always going to do a lot. Your healing is going to be crucial for the team, and it's going to keep the team in the running for a lot of these ranked matches, and just in general, it's very good to have somebody like Kelvin to fall back on. His Fade is just unreliable because he's always dashing in and getting killed. Jabali is nice, but once his shield's gone, he's a sitting duck. And, I mean, Fort is okay. Fort's okay, he's pretty good. And Ruby's obviously very strong as well. But that's kind of where it ends. I think a lot of those Vanguard heroes don't have as much potential as Kelvin does, especially when it comes to control. I wasn't really able to show you guys. I mean, look at this. Only six kills. We weren't even positive KD, but that's some pretty decent stats. And if I would have had a better team, we would have been able to show you guys exactly what I mean here, because Zero Kelvin is really good. I think he's very strong, and he definitely has what it takes to be the best Vanguard. Maybe not the best at diving, right? So I might differentiate it between Brawl Vanguards and Dive Vanguards, just because I think he's better suited for that role. But I think he's the most flexible out of all of these. He's the one that benefits the most from a support hero. He's the one that has the greatest ability to become a damage hero when he needs to. And he is the only one that has an invincibility, which is, it's huge, honestly. You guys know how prominent Gatlyn is. She's crazy. And he's the only one that can literally hard counter her. He's the only Vanguard that can hard counter her and not get eaten alive. He can buy, let's see, how many seconds is his Froyo second active is 3 seconds, which is enough time if the Gatlyn's focused for almost any of the damage dealers to kill her, unless she's very far away. So I think Fade's the most flexible. He's the one that benefits from all the different situations. The only problem is height. He's the only one that can't really stop somebody from height from killing him unless he has his second active ready, and then it's just kind of tough. But with that one downside, I think he has the least amount of downsides and the most usability of all these other heroes, especially with his passive. He can become very good in control if you just sit in the corner of the point, put your snowball down, and then once they're all clustered around you, the snowballs and the ultimate can make short work of any team that is inside of the control point. I think he has the most survivability of all of these Vanguards, because all of the other Vanguards, you have to get around the shield. And Zero Kelvin can play around the shield easier than any of these Vanguards can. I think he's the hardest to kill if you stay by the snowball and use a second active. All of his upsides are very, very strong, and he also flies under the radar. All of these other heroes are getting used way more, except maybe Victor because he sucks, right? I know the bots use him, but that doesn't count. I think he's very, very good. You guys should definitely give him a try. He's a lot stronger than you think. He has that flexibility. He has that usability. He pairs well with all the other heroes in the game. You're not going to regret having a Zero Kelvin on your team, because even if he's not doing a lot, he can still put down the snowball, and that's free cover that can be moved around. So those are kind of my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I think the Zero Kelvin's really good. I think he's probably the best Brawl Vanguard in the game right now. And once Gatlyn gets nerfed, he'll only get stronger because his projectiles go through Fort's shield. So he hard counters Fort. He can somewhat hard counter Gatlyn. All of these prominent heroes don't really have the best answer to Zero Kelvin. Ruby, if you can stun, then you do have a chance at taking out pretty much anybody, but you have to get the stun off. And if I see a Ruby who's charged up her second ability, I can just pop my second ability and instant invulnerability. And if you pair that, let's say you're running two supports, you go Labula second active, then you go Zero Kelvin second active, and then you use Neon's ult, and that's like 15 seconds straight of just being unkillable. And the amount of damage Zero Kelvin can dish out from close range is just insane. That's kind of all I really have. I really want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. This was kind of a tough video to make because I know everybody else thinks it's pretty much any other Vanguard. I don't really see him in the conversation, but I think he is good. I think he's very good, and you guys should really try him out because he is definitely the sleeper pick of the Vanguards. So that's the video. Hope you guys enjoy, and see you guys in the next one. Peace out.